Hello, hello. Hi, friends, and welcome to Dharma Talk Tuesday. Dharma Talk Tuesday. I'm very happy to be here with you today and to talk about a topic that a lot of people are reluctant to discuss, like openly and vulnerably and honestly. But I feel like it really needs to be talked about from a manifestor's point of view because it's like by very nature, the process of manifesting something from nothing requires you to be in the space of not knowing, of not having done it before, and like reconciling that. So because of some of our belief systems, the way that some people come up against that is that they feel like an imposter. I got this light thing, but I feel like it's just making it worse. What do you guys think? I'm trying to adjust. Maybe I should just turn the light off. I mean, that's really bright. I don't know. What do you guys think? Anyway, yeah, I'll just do that. I'll just lean back. That's better. Okay, so manifesting requires you to really go, I mean, you've heard me talk about it. Okay, I'm just going to turn this off. This is too much. Okay, that's better. There's natural light coming in right here, so I don't need an actual big light thing. Manifesting requires you to go into a very deep, heartfelt, authentic space of feeling the specific desire that you most want to call in. It requires you to feel it as if it already is, and to speak about it and think about it and be with it as if it already is. So naturally, especially for like the more analytically minded people, one of the objections or challenges that comes up in the manifesting process is, but I feel like such an imposter. Like, how can I possibly, especially like one of the things I do in Maya, my group coaching program, is I teach people how to go out into the world and be enrolling. Okay. So like being leaders and creating a following and creating a business or getting a promotion. Okay. So again, coming back to that goal, it's like, people have this objection sometimes or this challenge sometimes, like, how can I possibly go out into the world and have these conversations with people and like present myself as a leader when I haven't done as much as I think I should do? Like, I don't feel qualified. I feel like I'm not enough. I feel like I need X, Y, and Z thing in order to put myself out there as whatever. Okay, so hearts and likes, if you know what I'm talking about. I share this with you because I so was in that space for the majority of my life, like the majority of my life. It's something that I broke through, to be honest, relatively recently. So like even going back to 8th grade, I remember when I was in 8th grade, I won the science award. I won the science award. And I remember thinking, specifically, I remember even having the conversation with my parents after the awards reception, but especially while I was up in front of the whole class, maybe it was even the school, receiving the award, like holding the award, getting a picture, being so baffled, because that's when the announcement came in. And I remember thinking right then and there that there must be a mistake. There must be a mistake. I can't possibly be the one who is receiving this award right now like that. Like, it must be that, I think it's that person. Like, there's no way that it was me. I mean, these were going through my head as I was standing there. Okay, and I never won the science award again after that. And there was another time when I got my job after corporate, or rather after college, and I got my corporate job. And I remember doing my manifesting work, which I was very good at. Okay, so I was like seeing the offer letter come in of like, we want you to be on our team. We want you to be in our company. Here's your invite. Here's your salary. Here are your benefits. And I remember receiving that and thinking to myself, I wonder how long it's going to take for them to see the truth of who I am. And I remember every day that went by just waiting for the other shoe to drop, for them to see the truth as I saw it of who I was, of an imposter, of someone who didn't deserve to be there, who wasn't worthy of this great gig that I, manifested, okay? And then I got fired like 2 years later. So I share that with you because for several reasons. First, I want to share with you authentically that every person, including me, has a moment of imposter syndrome. And the reason is because it's not like we're born successful. We're born with nothing. We're born as blank slates. We're born with zero expectations or goals. Like, we don't have any of those things when we're born. So, like, what I hear my clients say sometimes is the thing that holds them back is they just don't have the qualification, or they don't know what it takes. And what they end up breaking through to is realizing that it's not actually the qualification. It's not actually it's not like they get anointed with the "you get to go now" fairy of like, now suddenly you're different and you're not an imposter anymore. And now all of a sudden you can go and create success in whatever area you're wanting to create it in. That's not how it works. And so I'm going to share with you in this Dharma Talk Tuesday the 4 ways to shift out of imposter syndrome and into manifesting from an aligned place. Okay, so manifesting from an aligned place looks and feels very different from manifesting from a place of doubt and I don't know if this is going to work, and skepticism, and who am I to call in and receive these epic results that I'm trying to believe for. Okay, do you guys hear the distinction and the difference? So before I go into that, as you are joining right now, I would love for you to just say hello, say your name, where you are tuning in from, and what Dharma means to you. Dharma meaning life purpose. And I just want to also say hi to Kelly. Thank you for tuning in. Shamika, Gretchen, Rue, so good to see you. I saw your post on my wall the other day about the Great Dane. That was so funny. Roxana in St. Louis, hello. Zach, Shanda in the house. Jessica, hello. Ben, hello. Thank you all for joining. Okay, so let's get into this, shall we? Okay, the first thing I want to speak into is on the topic of receiving. One of my clients reflected back to me the other day. She said, you know, you gave us an analogy at our last retreat that really stuck with me. And she repeated back to me what I said to them at the retreat, which was, imagine receiving a gift from a friend. They put so much thought into it. They went shopping at Fashion Valley. They spent hours of their life going around the mall and picking out the perfect thing for you. And then they hand it to you. And then you take it, you throw it on the ground, and you stomp on it. Okay, that's what happens when you block the gifts of the universe. And this includes the manifestations that you are focused on and your desires that are planted in your heart and the things that you feel called and compelled to reach out for. And every time you have a thought like, I don't deserve this, who am I to receive this? I'm not qualified. Oh my gosh, there's somebody else who's way more worthy than me. Every time you have that thought, that is the equivalent of you taking the gift from the universe, throwing it on the ground, and stomping on it. How do you think that makes the universe feel? Like, let's just say for a moment that the universe was a person. Let's just say that it was a being, and it was a friend, and you had that experience with a friend. Like, what would your friend, would that person still be friends with you? Would they want to continue to be in relationship with you? Like, throwing that thing that they spent time and energy getting you and throwing it on the ground and stomping on it? No. And so what happens when you have these kinds of doubts that percolate inside you and you focus on them and you let yourself keep focusing on them, is that you block yourself from being able to receive more. You block yourself from receiving the miracles. I love that Wayne Dyer quote. He says, shoot, it's like the specifics of the wording is eluding me now. But this is essentially like, I don't wish for miracles, I expect them. I also was reading in my pastor's book this morning, Push, pray until something happens. He said something like, I depend upon miracles. I don't just expect miracles. I depend upon miracles. I depend upon miracles. I depend upon receiving those gifts. So the first thing to shift imposter syndrome is to become a great receiver. The first thing to shift imposter syndrome is to become a great receiver. That's going to be your first thing. Okay, so if you have questions or thoughts or comments about that, please post that in the thread here, so that I can answer them. I'm gonna go on to the next thing in the meantime. The next thing that you need to understand is actually kind of like a mantra. And this is a very powerful mantra. And I wanna say that it's especially a very powerful mantra for entrepreneurs. And the reason I say that is because it's very typical for entrepreneurs to experience ups and downs, ups and downs, ups and downs. And the reason is because, you'll have like a windfall of sales and then maybe you won't be selling for a while. And then it's like, it's fine, but on a psychological level, you get really hard on yourself. And so it's really important to embrace this mantra that I'm about to give you. And that mantra is this. Write it down. Are you ready? It's this. I am not my results. I am not my results. And the reason why this is such an important mantra is because the moment you make your results equivalent to your inherent worthiness, you are in trouble. And the reason you're in trouble is because you're going to find that your sense of self-worth, your confidence, your self-esteem, your sense of worthiness is going to start doing that roller coaster, again, especially as an entrepreneur, that our income, our life tends to take, okay? So the moment you dissociate from those results, you actually shift, and you shift into something that I'm going to talk about here actually at the end. But I want you to really hear that. Just like, you are not your results. I am not my results. I dissociate from my results. Hearts and likes if that resonates with you, if that makes a difference for you. One of the reasons why that's so important too is that, like, if you're feeling challenged in a moment and you have to go perform and like do what I teach my clients, I call them cultivate calls. It's like an enrollment call. It's an acronym. So if you have to like go to an enrollment call or do a presentation or do a webinar, and like you get to like be really visible and you get to like really show up, if you have a belief that where you're associating your results with yourself and your worthiness, it's going to be really hard to show up powerfully and fully, because you're going to, in your mind, feel kind of like shit because you've got this association with results that are not working. And here's the thing about dissociating from your results. If you identify and recognize that you are not your results, then what you get to realize is you still can show up and shine. You still can show up and be radiant and be powerful and happy. Gosh, you can be happy and you can laugh. And that's the difference there, okay? So I really want you to hear that. That's a huge one, especially for ambitious women like us. Okay, so that's the second thing. The third thing, which kind of bleeds into what I was just saying, is about your conception of yourself. Now, I was talking about this with my Money Manifestation Secrets students. The very first thing that I shared with them in the course, which I'll share with you, is that your manifestation and your results that you're experiencing externally in your reality are a direct reflection of your conception of yourself. So like I was speaking with a woman earlier today, and she was interested in my private coaching program, and she shared with me that like she feels like she needs to go get this one particular qualification because she experiences disrespect from her colleagues, and if she were to get that qualification, then she expects that she would receive respect. And what I said to her is exactly what I'm about to say to you, which is, that's fine if you want to go get that qualification. It was like a year-long, really intense commitment. And I said, that's fine if you want to go get that qualification. Like if your heart and I just got a phone call. If your heart and every cell in your body is aching to be a part of that program and receive that qualification, and you just so want that experience, go and do it, all for it. But notice where you're coming from, because if you're actually coming from a place of inadequacy, of like, I need that qualification in order to be worthy, in order to be centered, in order to feel confident, in order to receive respect, I invite you to look at that. And this is exactly what I said to her. I said, I invite you to look at that, and here's why. Because what you're experiencing in your reality is a direct reflection of your conception of yourself. So if you're experiencing a lack of respect or whatever feedback you're getting from your colleagues and from those people, I hate to say it, but it's because you don't have a respect inside yourself. You don't respect yourself. You have doubts within yourself. And no qualification is going to fix that for you. Like, that's work that you get to do within yourself first, and recognizing that and moving through it and healing it and shifting it. Okay. So I said that to her, and she was like, whoa, like she never thought about it that way, but it really resonated. Okay. So the reason why this is important is because if you conceive of yourself as unworthy and as an imposter and as when are they going to find me out? When's the other shoe going to drop? Guess what you are going to manifest? You are going to manifest that exact reflection. And that's why I never got another science award after 8th grade. And that's why I got fired from my job. Not once, but twice, 2 different jobs, because I had that same racket running over and over and over again, no matter which job I went to, because I was the common denominator, and that was my conception of myself. Okay, so hearts and likes if this is making a difference for you. And by the way, I forgot to say this earlier, but if this is resonating with you and you know someone who this could really make a difference for, I want to invite you to tag them in the thread and invite them to come join the conversation, and or share this Dharma Talk Tuesday on your Facebook wall. Just hit the share button. And I think the beautiful thing about this message is that it gives people permission to talk about this topic. Like, I'm going to tell you guys, I was so ashamed to feel like an imposter for most of my life. I felt like nobody's gonna get me. Why does everyone else walk around like they know they know something? Like they're confident, they're clear, they seem so like worthy in themselves. Like, what do they have that I don't? I really believed that there's something wrong with me. So like, chances, I mean, and now I know that that's just a racket that a lot of people have, and I'm not the only one who felt that way. Maybe every single one of you watching actually has felt that at some point. So by you sharing this post, you're actually helping someone like the, 22-year-old Julie, for example, who otherwise would have just gone on feeling like shit about herself. So thank you for sharing this Dharma Talk Tuesday. I want to say hi to Dina, beautiful Dina. I want to say hi to Tony, Holly, hello, Nate, Lisa, what's up? Lori Taylor, the magical, beautiful wizard goddess that is Lori Taylor. Rachna in the house. Chrissy from North Palm Beach. And her Dharma is living your calling, and she has a really awesome product that if you give me permission, Chrissy, I'll talk about it, but I want to talk about it out of turn. But Chrissy's got this really awesome revolutionary product that she's got going on. We've got Jessica. All right. Okay. So your conception of yourself. And so I want to also say that your reality manifesting as a result of your conception of yourself doesn't just happen in your career. I've got this crazy rogue eyelash happening over here. It doesn't just happen in your career. It happens in your relationship. It happens in your fitness, in your body. It happens in among your friends. It happens everywhere in your life. There is no escaping it. And no amount of qualifications or trainings or certifications is going to change that for you. You need to find within yourself a shift so that your conception of yourself is such that you manifest a different reality. So now your question is awesome, got it. How do I shift my conception of myself so I can manifest a different reality? I'm glad you asked that. And that's where I want to go into this final point. And it's a very common phrase that many people have heard, which is this: where your attention goes, energy flows. Where your attention goes, energy flows. I'm going to say it one more time. Where your attention goes, energy flows. And the reason why this is important is that, notice, like, my thoughts kept going back to, like, I shouldn't be earning the science award. Someone else should be earning it. I shouldn't be earning it. Someone else. So where attention goes, energy flows. I never won the science award again. You know, I went into, I don't belong in this job. I don't belong here. I'm so underqualified. Like, they have no idea. I have no idea what I'm doing. What the hell am I doing here? And I got fired. Like, you are so powerful. Every single one of you is so powerful that when you're focusing your attention on those kinds of thoughts, I promise you, that's the reality that you're going to bring into focus. And it sucks because those thoughts feel very real. And so the hard thing is shifting away from those thoughts and into what you do want to focus on. So that's where it's like, okay, so if I'm not an imposter, if I'm not like, needing a qualification, if I'm whole and complete exactly how I am, well, what does that look like? And what does that mean? And where do I go from there? And that's a great question. And that's where you want to dive deep. And you want to really assess your heart's calling, your dharma, as I call it. And you want to identify what you want to feel. As an example, I want to feel fulfilled. Maybe you can even, as you're watching this right now, post in the comments right now, what do you want to feel? Where would you rather have your attention and energy flow to? If your attention goes where energy flows, if your energy flows where your attention goes, where do you want to bring your attention to? Where do you want to bring your attention to? Like, show me in the comments. What are you committed? Where do you see yourself focusing? Maybe it's a successful business. Maybe it's a loving relationship where you feel absolutely cherished and appreciated and adored. Maybe it's feeling light and free and healthy in your body. Maybe you have a location in mind of where you want to live. I dreamed of living in San Diego on the beach for since I was 12 years old. And I focused on it, and I finally made it happen when I learned how to manifest properly, right? Like, I have a client who's actually about to move here from Chicago. And she's moving out here, and she also just manifested a free car. Talk about someone else. She texted me the other day saying she almost blocked it, but she ended up receiving a free car, which is pretty awesome. I have another friend who I just got off the phone with her before this Dharma Talk Tuesday. She just manifested $25,000 cash. I could go on and on and on and on, you guys, with the stories of manifestation and what's possible. Maybe some of you watching right now even have your own stories of manifestation to inspire and encourage and uplift others. And my point is that you can't manifest it unless you're focusing on it. So the power of, number one, identifying your desire. Number two, focusing on it every single day cannot be understated. I'm talking 30 minutes, just you and God, you and the universe, every single day. And I really want to invite you to do that. So the reason why this is really timely and important is I've been getting a lot of messages from people saying, I want to focus, but I don't have time. Or I want to focus, but I have other commitments and obligations, so I don't have 30 minutes in the morning. And so that inspired, and I get that, I really get that. And so that inspired me to create a product to help you make time. Like, imagine what you would do with more time. Imagine what you would do with more space to be in that juicy, connected, manifesting place. There's this really interesting thing that happens when we go into that God, divine, connected energy with the universe. It's truly like time expands, and your ability to manifest things in your life increases. It becomes more effective. You'll find you need to work less. You'll find you need to put less energy and effort into making things happen. Things just kind of fall into your lap naturally and easily. And I'm not saying it's all rainbows and unicorns and with no challenge or triggers. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying if you want to be more in flow and you want to experience miracles more frequently, then you got to make time every day to focus. And that's why I created Freedom and Focus, because that's where freedom is. Freedom is in the focus. It's in discipline on your mindset where you're focused every single day for 30 minutes. So Freedom and Focus is my newest thing. It's stupidly priced. It's only $97, except it's $3,000 of products, and I'm just crazy. And I just wanted to give it to you for $97. So I'm going to post the link in here. Basically what I want you to know about it is that it encompasses the 3 pillars of manifesting that I talk about occasionally. I'm just going to talk about it here for a moment, which is the first pillar is emotional cultivation. What do you want to focus on? Is what I was just doing. What's your desire? What do you want to focus on? What do you want to, what's your heart's calling? What do you want to create? And like being emotionally with that feeling, communicating to God, to the universe, the gratitude, the feeling of almost already having manifested it in your life now. Shifting your conception of yourself to worthiness, excitement, gratitude, abundance, feeling fulfilled, feeling peaceful. So that's like the emotional cultivation. So that's part of it. The second thing that Freedom and Focus includes is a yoga practice. And then there's a little bonus if you want it. So like actually another yoga practice. So the first yoga practice you get is for your solar plexus. It's called Freedom and Focus. I'm on day 4 of a bone broth fast. So excuse my fuzziness in my brain. So the yoga practice is called Yoga for Focusing, and it's all about the solar plexus because the energy of focusing comes from your solar plexus. So it's a 20-minute audio guided, beautifully orchestrated. There's beautiful music in the background. Yoga practice. Hi, Jen. Speaking of yoga, of course you hop on as I'm talking about yoga. To support you in creating this space to go into your emotional cultivation. And my experience is, after having done this work for years with hundreds of people, is that it's often very hard for people, especially analytical people. Duke, off. Excuse me. He just got really excited. Hey, excuse me, off. Duke, come say hi. He's so excited. It's hard for analytical people to, Duke, off, get out of their heads and into their bodies and really get into that imaginative, creative space of feeling the experience that they want to call in. So the yoga practice helps you shift. It helps you incrementally, I call it shifting your energy set point, so that it's easier to feel the feelings of prosperity, abundance, et cetera, that you want to experience. Because here's the thing, the doubt, the skepticism, the I can't, and here's why, feel very real. You know, like the big manifestations that I know you're calling in, the nothing that you're turning into something, the blocks feel very real. And so doing this yoga practice is going to help those blocks go away, because those blocks are stored in your body. And as soon as they clear, your mind opens up and those visualizations become much more easy to access. So that's why there's that yoga practice in there. There's also a yoga for heart opening practice that you get if you want to get the bonus. Finally, there's a strategic element as well, and there's a whole deep focus mastery guide, which teaches you strategies on expanding space and time. So that's in there as well. It's very strategic. It's very pragmatic. I mean, that sounds very magical, and I guess it kind of is at some point, but it's actually very pragmatic, the deep focus mastery guide. So anyway, I'm going to post that link in this thread for you. But in the meantime, I want to know, that's it. Those are the 4 points. Number 1, I'll just go over them really quickly again. Number 1 is get better at receiving, become a great receiver of gifts from humans and from God, from the universe. Number 2, mantra, I am not my results. Dissociate yourself from your results. Number 3, you must have basically, I'm going to say this, an immaculate conception of yourself. You get to see yourself as worthy. You get to see yourself as beautiful. You get to see yourself as brilliant and smart and creative. You get to really shift your conception of yourself, because that's going to be a reflection in your reality. Finally, where your attention goes, energy flows. So you want to make sure that you are focused. Did I mention focused on what you do want as opposed to what you don't want? Because otherwise you're going to sabotage everything. You're going to get it, you're going to manifest it, and then you're going to sabotage it, just like I did in some of the stories I shared with you. And that's it. So I hope this made a difference for you. Please don't let the imposter syndrome hold you back. Please implement these strategies I just gave you, these steps, if you feel that freedom and focus is something that will support you in being able to focus on what you do want as opposed to what you don't want, so that you stop sabotaging yourself, so that you do start seeing yourself differently. Sorry, I just got a call. Then you can grab the link in the thread. So I have a 6:30 call that I get to take right now. Sending you so much love. I'll see you next week at 6 p.m. Dharma Talk Tuesday, 6 p.m. Pacific. Bye!